believe these are the 4 main reasons keeping you from the life that you want to live. Hey everyone, this is Shelby Bowen. Welcome to the pilgrimage. I am so excited to go on this journey with you after working in journalism for the last 5 years, being able to travel across the world, throughout the country, and see all different kinds of ways of living and different cultures. I wanted to start this YouTube channel to show you some of the things that I personally have learned that have helped me step into the life that I want, that I believe you can live, and that we all have laid out before us. There are 4 main reasons keeping you from that life that you want to live. If you're new to this channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button below to come along this journey. My goal for this YouTube channel is to build a community of people like you to come along this journey and just have real and honest conversations about this pilgrimage that we are on, that we call life, and some of the hardships that we face along the way. There are tools at our disposal that can help us live that best life. So the first one is gratitude. And I want to start off with a story for this. When I was traveling overseas, I went to Haiti. I remember going there thinking that I was going to be doing something to help them, but in reality, I have learned so much more. They have done so much more for me in my life that I ever could have imagined. And one of those is the mindset shift of gratitude. When I first got to Haiti, we were working with an orphanage over there at the time that I was working for this nonprofit. And I remember when we met up with the local pastors and leaders in Haiti, they kept telling us about how grateful they were for this church building that they had. And I just remember, thinking like, oh, okay, like I'm really excited to see this place that they have for these orphans and where they're able to do the work that they feel called to do. And we get there and we're driving around and we're making some stops, and we show up somewhere, and there is just this little tin roof in this field, held up by some wooden posts. And, in my mind, I'm just thinking that this is a stop along the way until we're going to where this building is. After a couple minutes of being there and seeing all of these children and all of these people, just these huge smiles on their faces, just loving and enjoying life, I realized that this little tin roof was the building that they were so grateful for. And in that moment, I knew my life was never going to be the same again. I'm like, in America, we have so much at our disposal. I'm sitting here in my apartment with my dogs and my cat where I live with my husband, and I have food in the fridge, and I'm blessed to have this life. And I remember seeing them and their gratitude for these things that they had and the joy that they lived in. They were not looking at their lives as lack or like they had nothing. They were so thankful and grateful for everything they had. And you could see that it was just the motivation to keep them moving forward. They were making such an impact in these villages. I truly believe it's because of their gratitude of everything they had, and more just kept coming their way. They are so happy with their lives because of this attitude of gratefulness. And how often are we overlooking the things that we have before us? And don't get me wrong, I have so many days where I wake up and I'm like, oh, I wish I had this or that. And we live in such a disposable society where people are disposable. You can go on an app on your phone and just swipe, and it's human beings have become disposable in our society. But not only that, it's seeing the next outfit that influencer is wearing, or the car they're driving, or the decorations in their house, or the products they've bought. It's never enough. It's just rat race of like wanting the next best thing, wanting to achieve this, wanting to do that. You realize that when is enough going to be enough? And don't get me wrong, I don't think any of those things are wrong. You can have things in this life. I truly believe there's nothing wrong with that. But when are we going to be grateful for the things that we do have? And so one of the practices that I do every morning is I take out this notebook right here and I open it up and I write down just some of the things that I'm grateful for in my life, whether that is just the roof over my head, it's for my family, my mom, my dad, my husband, our dogs, the food in our fridge, the ability to be able to eat healthy food that nourishes our body. And it's just taking a moment and meditating on all that God has done in my life and in our lives, and just being grateful for that and just posturing your mind in that place, which leads me to something that I've been doing a little bit more research on. And as a journalist, try to approach these concepts with an objective point of view, but I do find sort of this positive psychology movement to be quite interesting. I think there are things about it that are amazing, while there may be some things that I don't necessarily agree with, but overall I can appreciate the concepts. And so the positive psychology was founded by Martin Seligman, I don't know if I'm saying his name right, in 1997. And so this was his story. He's in the rose garden at his home, and he's there with his daughter. And while weeding in his garden one day with his young daughter, Seligman found himself distracted and frustrated as Nikki, who was 5 years old at the time, started throwing flowers in the air, getting dirt everywhere, and she was just giggling and laughing and having this grand old time. And Seligman yelled at her to stop, at which his daughter took him aside and reminded him how from ages 3 to 5 she had whined a lot, but on her 5th birthday had made a conscious decision to stop. If she could change herself with an active will, couldn't her dad stop being such a grouch? And he had an epiphany. What if every person was encouraged to nurture his or her character strengths as Nikki so precociously had, rather than scolded into fixing their shortcomings? I really like that perspective. And I think that when we look at the things, the characteristics that we do have that we're grateful for, whether that you feel like you're a very caring, empathetic person, and so you try to show gratitude in that area, whether you're very motivated in your life and high achieving and you work hard and you're driven, and you have gratitude for how you're moving in that area. The power of these devotional practices, which for me personally, and this is bias, is rooted in my biblical beliefs that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. I have watched the principles laid out in the Bible in my life just come to pass as I put my faith in these things, which I believe is really kind of the same basics of the positive psychology, some of these practices, which, is counting your blessings, being grateful, forgiving, and meditating, or for me, it's prayer. Those practices are very essential in living the life that you want to have, because when you're just ruminating on all of the negative, your mind is blocked and there is no room for creative thought to come through. You have all of this, imagine like a dark cloud surrounding your head, but yet there's all of this light, these creative ideas and these thoughts that want to come in, but because you're so bogged down by all this unforgiveness and anger and negativity and fear and worry, none of that is coming to pass. And don't get me wrong, I have had so many moments where I doubt myself. Can I do this? Will I be able to accomplish this? But taking those moments and just saying, what's that going to get you, right? Like, what is that going to get me? Just ruminating on whether or not I can do something. Where is that going to get me? Instead, it's like, okay, I'm going to cast thoughts aside and I am going to trust that God will direct my path, and I'm going to be grateful for everything in the meantime. And I am not kidding you, I have seen the most success through that in my life. So this leads me to point number 2, which is releasing. And this can be one of the hardest things, and trust me, I get it. especially if you have had a hard time with releasing stuff in general throughout your life. It's going to be a hard concept to grasp, and you really have to do it with your whole heart. It can't just be like a facade. So with releasing, whenever you say you are working in a negative work environment and your boss says and does things that are manipulative, or they make you angry, or they're not giving you the credit that you deserve, instead of letting that just build up and create bitterness, it's just staying in a mindset of just release. And it's not for them, it's for you. When your mind, again, is so filled with bitterness towards this person, those doors are not going to continue being opened. You need to release the current place you're at that you're not happy with and just move forward into the next thing. So I'm going to give you an example from my life. I had this person in my life who meant a lot to me, a friend, and there was something that happened and they did something behind my back and it really hurt. It hurt me. You know, I felt very betrayed and taken off guard and really trusted in that friendship. Well, in that moment, I decided, you know, I can sit here and be bitter and be angry, which there is totally a process of grieving relationships, and that is okay. But I believe that while you are grieving those relationships, that you can also release those things from your life. Here's an example of every time a thought of anger would rise in my mind and I would be angry towards this person, I would just say, you know what? Like, take a step back and say I forgive them, and I just release them, and I can still grieve and be hurt, you know, by some of the things that happened. But you know what? I'm going to be grateful for that relationship at that time, but I'm going to just move forward and release them into a past season of my life. So I've already taken a step forward. I've already moved in my mind into the next season or the next phase of my life and have released that person behind me. And there's something that happens when you do that I truly believe it opens the door for that new season in your life. And for me, it did. I'm not kidding. Like, not long after that, started hanging out and being around just a different group of people that were what I needed in that moment in my life. Very similar goals and ambitions and beliefs. And you know, it's once I released that person from my life, then those new relationships came in and they were exactly what I needed. But I don't think that I would have been ready for that in my life if I had just sat in anger and just, you know, sat where I was. So with that being said, whether you are in a job where you're treated like crap, and trust me, I've been there. I have been there. Envision yourself moving forward. Like, you've stepped into that next season. And I'm telling you, it is the most freeing place that you can be. And it's the place where you want to be, that nobody has that effect on you where they're going to slow down your life. If you want to live the life that you want, you cannot have people slowing down your momentum in your life to get where you want to be, whatever that looks like, wherever you want to go, whatever you want to be, whatever you want to do. You cannot allow other people's decisions and opinions affect that from happening. And if you just sit and ruminate on those things, it 100% will. Point number 3 is humility. Everybody likes to see people fail. Those people who puff up their shoulders and boast about what they're going to achieve. Everyone loves to see a good failure. And you don't want that to be you. You don't want to be the person walking around boasting about all this stuff and then fall down and everyone just say, yeah, figure that was going to happen. Instead, to live the life that you want to live, walk in humility. I think this is something our world needs a little bit more of. And trust me, I struggle with pride. I think we all struggle with pride from time to time. And walking in humility is key to living the life that you want to live. And why is that? I think you're focused on the wrong things when you're doing it for the crowd of people. So when you're operating out of a place of humility, then you're moving forward in the goals and desires and dreams you have that you don't really care about other people's opinions for. Those are just things you want to accomplish for yourself, or because you maybe believe that that is your purpose and what you're called to do. Whatever your abilities are in, just stay humble. Just keep to yourself, keep your head down, and just focus on how you can improve yourself. Whether you're waking up each day, you're listening to podcasts, you're reading books, you're pouring into yourself. Instead of taking the time to boast about your accomplishments, take that time to pour into yourself to continue to learn. Always have the attitude of a student and not of somebody who knows it all, because no one likes to know it all. They like people who are always willing to learn, and the best leaders are always wanting to learn, and they're open to feedback, and they're open to other people's knowledge and wisdom. So if you want to live the life that has purpose and meaning and calling in it, then walk humbly. In the Bible, James 4:10 says, "Humble yourselves in the presence of the Lord, and he will exalt you." If you're not a Christian, if you don't believe in those principles, humility is still a key concept for everybody to have and walk in their life. And I truly believe that will bring you way more success than boasting about your accomplishments will. Okay, so point number 4 is overcoming the battle in your mind, and it's fortitude. And so this kind of comes into some of the pushback that I would have and that people have towards the positive psychology, which is more just focusing on all of the great things and just positivity and happiness, and neglecting maybe some of the negative emotions, which I think that we have to face those battles, which most often are in our mind, to achieve the life that we want to live. There are many moments in my life where I wonder, can I do this? Am I good enough to do this? Will I accomplish that? And for me, it's overcoming that mental battle that will help you to achieve that dream or goal or business job position that you want. So how do you walk in the place of fortitude and continue to overcome the battle in your mind? I believe the first thing is focusing on the bigger picture. Why are you doing what you're doing? And remembering that in every moment. Also, don't trust those lying voices that try to come and tell you that you're not good enough. They're not lies, and I believe that if you truly are passionate about something, you can accomplish anything that you set your mind to within reason, right? So I'm not going to come out here and be some quantum physicist tomorrow, because I'm sorry, just not in the cards for me. I'm passionate about journalism, went to school for that. I believe I can accomplish my goals in journalism, in helping other people, if I set my mind in that direction. So overcome those lies in your mind. Resist filling your mind with junk. If you're feeling like you're in a rut, don't just turn Netflix on and binge watch some reality TV shows. Pour into yourself. Fill yourself with wisdom and creativity. One of the things that I like to do when I am having a battle in my mind or I'm not feeling creative, I love to read books. And so I'll sit down and read a book that I know will spark that creativity within me. Maybe that's a podcast for you. Maybe that is writing poems or listening to certain songs, going on a walk. I also love to be outside in nature. That helps me to overcome my mind. Get off social media, stop scrolling, stop comparing your life to other people, and focus on what you have control over. And quiet the voices around you, and you will overcome the battle of your mind. If you implement these 4 key things into your life, that you will see a shift in moving into the life that you want for yourself. Thank you everybody for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and comment down below what kinds of content you would like to see from me and what areas of research you would like to hear more on. Until then, see you next time.